Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Zodiac Bandit, and today we're going to be going over Critical Role Campaign 3, Episode 14. Great episode, had lots of fun with it. Very entertaining, for sure. Let's get into it. So we start the episode with some action. Ashton versus Ratanish. It's a ballroom blitz, baby. It's about to begin. Ashton removes his jacket, and it's a fist fight, so he doesn't use the saber that Fern slipped into his jacket earlier. Ratanish tells Ashton he can go for the first few hits, and Ashton headbutts him, basically without reservation about it. After he headbutts him, he then, does a little ear cup boxing thing on both sides of his head, stunning him for a minute before Ratanish can even react to the headbutt. And then Matt says roll initiative, and to me that just says Ratanish is so confident in himself that he can give him a full round of doing stuff without him answering, and then even give him another chance to do so. After that, the two have a good old-fashioned fist fight until some rage effects kick in. In the end, Ratanish's fire knocks out Ashton, and Ratanish uses the moment to show off the strength of the Paragon's Call. Ashton gets healed up by both FCG and Dorian before he dies. Ashton tries to start something by saying something about his dad after he loses. It kind of backfires, though, and some people begin to think that he beat him so bad he's asking for his father. Fern tries to back him up, and that's not really what he meant, and that's his actual father, but they don't buy that either. After that, Chetney starts telling Imogen about Cyrus and Emoth, and the Shea Creeper-like things. She immediately thinks of Duggar. She tells Dorian about this with her mind, and the two of them sort of talk a bit through that before meeting up, even though they're like 16 feet apart from each other. She sends a message to Cyrus, who says there's nothing to really worry about, and he's here to pay off his debts in the washroom. He is paying his debts in the washroom, which Sam then says that is the only way he's going to refer to using the facilities from now on. Imogen wants to go to the back rooms where Lady Emoth was, and goes to talk to Lord Estros about getting their keys to their rooms so they can go in and out without suspicion. Laudna at this point has found a seat kind of in the back and is kind of just looking creepy, waiting for someone to come up and interact with her. Ashton then gets called to talk with Ratanish, and Ratanish tells him he kind of likes him, he likes his heart, and if he needs some work at some point, he can. But then he asks about the mask and where he got the mask, which started their whole altercation. Ashton kind of lies and says he just saw it somewhere, which isn't quite a lie, it's just a half-truth. Ratanish connects a few dots and now knows, or at least believes he knows, that Ashton was part of the Moon Tower's explosion. Fern, Dorian, Chetney, and FCG make their way to the back rooms to check on Cyrus to see if they can find him in the washroom. Dorian and Fern get in by saying they need to use the facilities. Chetney and FCG just tell the guards that there is something going on in one of the rooms back there, and that the quorum is at risk. As Fern and Dorian are escorted to the washrooms, Dorian uses a minor illusion to make a scream come from the right side of the hallway, getting the guards to go for it. He looks in the bathroom and doesn't find his brother Cyrus. The guards run to the door and get attacked, they themselves making a noise, and Dorian, Fern, FCG, and Chetney go to see what happened to them. They see a blood trail leading into the other room, and they don't see anyone inside and kind of look around for a minute. They all step in, where Lady Emoth reveals she's on the ceiling and creeps out Travis the most. It is unnecessary, as he puts it. At this point, the rest of the group meet up outside of this back hallway with a key to properly get in. They go through the door just as the fight starts and need a turn or two to make it there. I don't like to break down combat, not really my thing. I'm more into the story, so I have a few points here about what happens. The party want to save one of the guards, at least one of the guards, so that they side with them once this is all over and they weren't just attacking guards or stealing from a room themselves. And they do end up saving one. It's just not the one they wanted to save. All right. No one drops outside of the one guard I mentioned earlier. Orym and Fern both crit Lady Emoth, dealing some nice damage to her. Fern kind of slashing up her like mucus pouch on her neck, and Orym completely damaged most of her eye and her face, which was dope. This to me is the first time I can remember no one got dropped in combat. They're finally getting used to these new characters in combat. Obviously, Orym and Fern, Ashley and Liam have EXU experience, same as Dorian with Robbie. But this is Robbie's second game, with EXU being his first, so he's kind of still sliding into those shoes. Lady Emoth is able to escape, but just barely, by finding a tunnel in the wall, much like Duggar, and she leaves in a similar way, like Duggar, slipping her way through this hole. Fucking nasty. The image of a human, like, turning to jelly and just going through the fucking wall is just gross. They learned from the guard that this room is Grease's room. Grease is the person who knew Ajit Dial, who he mentioned back in the previous episode, and who he was with. And that's the only reason he's here, because Ajit asked him to come. Outside the room, Dorian can hear Cyrus getting put in chains by some Green Seekers. These Green Seekers apparently are some sort of highly skilled detective group. Seems like if you get caught, you're fucked. Until today. They take Cyrus to the main room and begin trying to take him out of the ball. Dorian wants to save him. Laudna casts darkness on the ceiling, and it's basically snapped away right after it's put there by another partygoer. As Matt puts it, they're not the only, I wouldn't say adventurers, they're not the only magical practitioners in this ball. Dorian throws a smoke ball that he got from Gilmore during EXU, which, yeah, I'm glad he got to keep a bunch of their EXU stuff, all of them, because it meant EXU meant something, which is good, because I thoroughly enjoyed EXU. He uses the smoke screen that he puts up to charm one of the Green Seekers, and is able to grab Cyrus with the help of Lord Esteros, who kind of whacks the shit out of the other fucking Seeker, which is hilarious. Laudna then scares the rest of the partygoers, or at least a handful of them, giving Dorian a chance to turn Cyrus invisible and sort of sneaking out to the carriage. The guards turn on Laudna, but Imogen and FCG calm most of the guards except for one, when the guard they saved from the combat earlier steps in and tells the other guards and other people at the ball that they saved him from Lady Emoth and the rest of the Shea Creepers, and it kind of gets the last one to stand down. They leave the ball and return to Lord Esteros' place. We learn this is Cyrus's last hope to sort of pay off his debts, because he's in deep, and, you know, Lady Emoth has worked with the Corsairs before, and he was the only one that really fit the bill for this sort of occasion, and that, you know, he figured he could do it. And we very much know that he can't. He seems to not be great at sneaking around, being stealthy, sort of deceiving other people. We've now learned this a few times, I think. He now has to leave because he can't really pay off his debt. He's got a handful of money, or, yeah, I guess a pouch full of money, but he can't pay his debt off completely, so he kind of has to flee. And Dorian decides he's going to go with him, and he's going to help him get back home, so Cyrus can be the person he was always meant to be, because he sucks at trying to be stealthy and sneaky and part of a thieving ring. Thieving ring? Are they more like a Robin Hood ring? I'm going to say a Robin Hood ring, because that makes them seem less evil, even though... Yeah. Esteros says he'll give them passage on an airship to Emon, but they also said Kymel, so I think it's stopping in Emon first, which I think is where they're going to get off for EXU. Dorian says he'll go with him to help, because Cyrus clearly can't do anything alone, which is really sad when you think about it. because he got this far without him, but now he's screwed. Maybe he shouldn't have ever left there, Cyrus. We get some really good goodbyes from Dorian to everyone else. The EXU team give him some 16 platinum, I believe, if I counted correctly. And says he'll miss being Big Spoon, but Fern corrects him and tells him, no, you'll miss being Middle Spoon, which is funny. He gives his last goodbyes to everybody. At first he tells Laudna that there's no promises that they'll meet up and that he will eventually be able to sing the song to her that he wrote about them. But then later says he will sing it next time their paths cross. He says sort of the same thing to everyone, and instead of saying goodbye to FCG, he says, "Oh Jesus, Worcestershire? Yeah, the hardest word in the English goddamn language, because it is." And then he and his brother leave. Oh, right. Chetney also kind of has a good moment with him, saying that Cyrus doesn't deserve Dorian and that he needs to kind of step up because Dorian leaving is, it's going to affect the party. It's going to affect everything that they've done. And Cyrus is the reason he has to leave. So Chetney kind of says that Dorian's a great person and that you should live up to his example, which is kind of nice from Chetney to Dorian because they've kind of butted heads, jokingly, obviously, but they've been kind of at each other, kind of like how Dorian was at Bertrand. They kind of got carried over to Chetney, but Chetney shows him respect and the care that he should. And Dorian says he will treasure the boat he made for him forever. Then he leaves, which sucks. I predicted he would leave in a video a while back, but I wanted to be wrong. And now that he's gone, it kind of sucks. But he leaves with his brother, and the last thing he does for us on screen so far, because he will be back, is he leaves the boat Chetney made him behind, floating in the air for some young kid to come and grab it and steal it. And he knows this will be better because Chetney wants his wooden trinkets and toys to be loved and cared for. And he knows that it's going to be in better hands with some kid. Maybe. The kid's probably going to break it. But he knows it'll get used and be loved and enjoyed by some kid. Which is probably better for what Chetney wants it to be used for. And at the end of the episode, they kind of reveal that Robbie will be back in EXU sometime soon. It'll probably be I think they said it's a 2-part series. So it'll probably be, the fourth weekend or the fourth Thursday of every month, the one they take off for her hiatus on their regular campaign. Which I'm excited. I like the idea of EXU coming back and, seeing other people fill in slots for Fern and Orym. I think there's no way they're just going to do a 3-person party with Dariax, Dorian, and Opal. So they're probably going to throw 2 people in to go with it. Maybe Anjali will come back as well. That would be fun. And I guess now is the time to watch EXU if you haven't. I know some people aren't a big fan of it, but I liked it, and I think if you sit down and watch it, you'll have something to love too, especially if you like Dorian. Dorian's a big part of EXU. But anyway, this episode was great. Gave a perfect little end note for Dorian to kind of go out on. He got to be involved in a ball. He got to be in good amount of combat. He got to experience growth. He kind of has to step up now and become a kind of pseudo leader or protector. He says that he always felt that he was being protected by others, and now he gets to be a protector of his brother, which is a step up in station for him, as he feels, which is nice. It's a nice little character arc, a nice little 14 episode character arc. Technically it's 20 episodes if you count EXU, so it's cool. I like that Dorian was able to stick around for so long, and I think that really opens up the door for more people to be in more multi-episode sessions. Like, they're going to be there for longer stretches than just one episode. That was something that always bothered me about some guests in the past, that their characters weren't there a whole lot. They were there, introduced, and they left. Sometimes they'd be there for a handful, but like Campaign 1 did that more than Campaign 2. But when Campaign 2 did it, it was like really impactful. Like Keg and Rini, those two characters specifically, I think were the only two like back-to-back episodes where someone appeared. Obviously Shikasta showed up, but he was spread out across a handful of episodes. So Dorian having 14 episodes in a row is huge. I think it's really cool. I think it's a step in the right direction for guests being on the show, especially with it being pre-recorded like it is now. I think it'll allow them to schedule around guests coming in and kind of being on the show, which is cool. I don't think this is the end of Dorian or Robbie in Campaign 3. I think he's going to come back at some point. Maybe not for 14 episodes, maybe more like 4. But this is definitely not the end of Dorian's story, because there's got to be some sort of conclusion for him in all of this. I think there's going to be a moment where we get to go to the Silken Squall and kind of see where Cyrus ended up, and he's going to lead them in the direction of Dorian, which might take them off of Marquette. Who knows? This is entering speculation territory now, which is a different video entirely. But yeah, really enjoyed this episode. It was a nice little wrap up to the Ball episode that started last time. And it's a nice send off for a very good character and an amazing player. He has grown leaps and bounds from episode 1 of EXU. And it's going to suck not seeing him for a while. And then when EXU Part 2 ends, it's going to suck not seeing him for even longer. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say about the episode. Really enjoyed it. I'll see you guys Sunday. No, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Vox Machina finale. Kind of my thoughts on that, which I have a lot of thoughts on that. Fuck me, that was awesome. So, yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow, Saturday, sometime sharp. Who knows? If you guys like what I do here, subscribe, hit a like, comment your thoughts on episode 14 of Campaign 3 for Critical Role. Peace.